Thank you, Chair. General, I think you've made your point on paragraph 152, and we now have SS 26. Can we move now to paragraph 155?
Your mic, General.
My apology, Chair. 155, conversation extracted from Vusimuzi Matlala's phone pertaining to my name. General Mkhwanazi has further sought to rely on alleged WhatsApp messages said to have been extracted from a cellular telephone reportedly removed from one Vusimuzi Matlala, which messages are alleged to contain references to me. I place on record that I was not a participant in those conversations, as it is evident from the material relied upon. My name is merely mentioned. I did not form part of the messaging group or the exchanges themselves. The conversations in question are said to be between one Brown Mokgotsi and Matlala, in which my name is purportedly referenced. I have no knowledge or involvement in those exchanges and no information as to how these alleged messages were extracted, preserved, or presented to the Commission. It is entirely unclear how these messages were obtained, what methodology was employed in their extraction, and whether their integrity and authenticity have been preserved. Accordingly, I am unable to confirm the authenticity, accuracy, or context of these purported WhatsApp communications and cannot speak to their legitimacy, completeness, or reliability. Any attempt to rely on these alleged messages as evidence against me is therefore misleading and unfair, as it attributes to me statements and discussions in which I played no part whatsoever. Other inconsistencies noted in General Mkhwanazi's evidence. Another challenging aspect is that the evidence of General Mkhwanazi raises material concerns in my view. It is notable that he did not inform this commission that there had been an attempt to return the docket to KwaZulu-Natal, which he refused to accept. The fact only emerged during the ad hoc committee proceedings, and even then, only after I had mentioned it. Because this is how I corrected here. He says only after he was expressly prompted. I expressed it there. It was not information that he volunteered to this commission. This omission is difficult to ignore and warrant scrutiny. In his press briefing held on 6 July, General Mkhwanazi stated that during 2024, he received a request from the Gauteng Organized Crime Unit to provide assistance in an investigation aimed at dismantling an organized crime syndicate. According to his statement, the syndicate was controlled from Gauteng, but operated in the rest of the country and across other neighboring countries. General Mkhwanazi further stated that in his capacity as the provincial commissioner, he took a decision to deploy 10 members from the PKTT to support the Gauteng Organized Crime Unit in that investigation. In his testimony before his commission on 17 September 2025, General Mkhwanazi presented a materially different version. On that occasion, he stated that it was in fact General Khumalo in his capacity as Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence who, after registering a counterintelligence case, requested law enforcement support from outside the Gauteng province. According to this version, the purpose of the deployment was to ensure that the investigation conducted by the Gauteng Organized Crime Unit was protected. The divergence between General Mkhwanazi's public statement of 6 July 2025 and his sworn statement before this commission on 17 September 2025 raises a material issue regarding the reliability of his account. It is possible that The version presented by General Mkhwanazi before this commission was influenced by the fact that following his press briefing of 6 July 2025, Brigadier Hopane, the provincial head of organized crime for Gauteng, categorically denied that she had requested any form of assistance from General Mkhwanazi. In that context, the later version attributing the request to General Khumalo and to a counterintelligence investigation may have been advanced to address or explain that denial. These are the peripheral issues. The inconsistencies necessarily bears on the credibility and weight to be attached to his evidence and underscores the need for the Commission to assess the evidence with a particular care and to evaluate the consistency, reliability, and corroboration of the version presented. Now I'm getting to allegations made by the National Commissioner. I now proceed to address and canvass the allegations made by the National Commissioner during his testimony before the Commission from 22nd September 2023, 22 September to 23 September 2025. I address these allegations thematically. First, begin by dealing with the allegations concerning my purported relationship with Matlala, Mr. Matlala. Secondly, I address the investigation into the kidnapping of Jerry Boshoga. Thirdly, I deal with the National Commissioner's point of contention. Allegations concerning my purported relationship with Matlala. The National Commissioner alleges that it was indicated to him that I am close friends with Mr. Matlala. I vehemently deny that I am or have ever been a close friend of Matlala. Any assertion to that effect is false. No credible evidence has been produced to establish that I am friends with Matlala. In actual fact, I was introduced to Matlala as a service provider of the South African Police Service. He is known in the subs because he was at that time running a hospital of the South African Police Service at the college. He was awarded a healthcare contract at the police college. During or about January 2024, when I was acting National Commissioner, Matlala set up an appointment to visit me at my office with his attorney. On his visit, Matlala was indeed accompanied by his attorney. Matlala complained that he had been awarded the tender but was not allowed to use the facility and thus not able to deliver in terms of the tender agreement. Matlala also had a letter from Public Works.
Sorry to interrupt you, General. A question of clarity. When you say he complained that he'd been awarded the tender, was not allowed to use the facility, which tender are you referring to? Is it the Medicare 24?
That is correct, Chair.
Okay, you may continue. You were at Matlala also had a letter from Public Works.
Matlala also had a letter from Public Works which confirmed that he received a lease agreement to utilize the said building. I informed him that I would discuss the matter with the National Commissioner upon his return. I consulted with the National Commissioner on the issue upon his return to the office. His response was that Public Works was not going to tell SAPS how to utilize the building. The National Commissioner asserted that Matlala was not going to be allowed into the building. The tender nevertheless continued until May 2025. At this juncture, my involvement was limited to providing feedback to Matlala on my interaction with the National Commissioner pertaining to his complaint, which I duly did. Paragraph 165. I reiterate that I had no prior knowledge of nor a relationship with Matlala before the meeting held at my office. The suggestion that I am a close friend of Matlala is untenable given that I only met him for the first time in January 2024.
Can I just understand that last part where you say the suggestion that I'm a close friend is untenable given that I only met him for the first time in January 2024? Does this mean, and maybe let me ask my question, beyond January 2024, did a friendship develop or not?
We didn't develop a friendship, but we have interacted. And not to a level or to a point where I could say we were now friends. But because of the fact that at that point in time, he was really not under investigation nor under scrutiny. Like the minister, former minister Bekele said at the ad hoc, the eyes then that looked at Matlala are not the eyes that look at him now. At that point in time, there was nothing. But it doesn't mean that he became my friends. We were never friends.
You were never friends?
No.
Okay, thank you. You may continue.
The investigation into the kidnapping of Jerry Boshoga. The National Commissioner alleged that concerns were raised with him regarding my purported relationship with Matlala, as well as apprehensions regarding my continued oversight of the investigation into the kidnapping of Jerry Boshoga. Notwithstanding these allegations, these alleged concerns, the National Commissioner did not at any stage remove me from the investigation. To the contrary, I continued to lead and perform investigative functions in respect of the kidnapping of Jerry Boshoga matter up to date, on which I was instructed to stay at home. I further wish to place on record that my involvement in the investigation of this matter came about as a result of a family member of Jerry Boshoga approaching me directly. The said family member expressed concern that the team then assigned to investigate the kidnapping was not affording the matter sufficient attention. In that context, the family member requested that I specifically become involved in the investigation, and the matter was entrusted to me on that basis. I need to take time and explain this matter of Jerry Boshoga. Chair, this matter was reported, the timelines I will get in the report in terms of when, the date, but what happened, it was reported and investigated by Gauteng. And then it was investigated, but not much attention was being given to the matter. Then a family member...
When you say by Gauteng, who exactly are you referring to?
I think it's Gauteng Organized Crime. And then the family member, who is a director at the, works in government at the presidency, the Union Building. He's a family member, he's a brother-in-law of Mr. Boshoga. I think he's a brother to the sister. Came to my office. I've got his name, I've got his contact details. And for the commission maybe to also maybe confirm the facts, so the investigators sit with him and confirm the facts. He came to my office complaining about the fact that Mr. Boshoga has been kidnapped for far too long and it looked like they're not enjoying much support. What I then did, I called all the structures. I called for the docket in Gauteng. I called intelligence investigators, those that were involved, and also I put a bigger team together. We were all sitting in my office in the boardroom, and I said, guys, we can't fail to deal with this matter. What is going on? And then all of them, they contributed, and then they started running with the investigation. We appointed a sergeant, I think Shihangule, and another colonel to lead the investigation. There's a report of what they are doing. I want to make a request, special request. Chair, I've never called any witness. I'm the only person, after so many allegations made against me by different people. In this one, I just want to ask the commission to just summon or call and come with a docket. Either Sergeant Shihangule or the Colonel Mashabela, who's investigating this matter, because the matter was not receiving attention at all. Since they investigated, the family was happy, completely happy. And may I also indicate that there's no any other person, senior, who's been involved in this matter than I have been, who pushed for this investigation more than I have done. And I'll tell you why. We have had, together with the minister, a meeting with the DPCI investigators. Now, this is a team that is able to trace a person without only looking at the phone and the SIM card, but whether you are on Wi-Fi or whatever. I expressed my dissatisfaction about this matter and invited their support. At the police summit, I was one of the speakers. I raised that, and I said at the police summit, I said, as a country, it is very worrying that a matter like this, we are not able to resolve, where a person has been kidnapped for so long and we are unable to trace. We've got technology and we've got everything. At some point, the minister called the service providers to his office at his residential, with all the service providers for the communication, different. I raised the matter and say, everybody uses communication. Why are we not able to put all the resources that we want, that we have to trace this person? I went out of my way to make sure that this person gets traced. Now, my request is that the team that is investigating, Chair, if one of them could just come and say, this is what we've been doing, look at the docket before we got it, and what investigations we ran up until the docket, up until we were called. This thing that the National Commissioner received a complaint that I'm a friend to Ket Matlala, I don't know where it comes from. But
General, when did you put this team together? I don't know if you mentioned the date. You had said you'd called a meeting and then you formed the team. When was that?
After the same day the brother came to my office, I called a big team in the room, including intelligence themselves.
I understand. I'm asking, when was that? The date?
It's like I was saying, I don't have it here. I'll provide the date.
Sure.
Because they all came in my office when the date, it will be in the investigation diary of the docket when everything started. But the report I have, I will get the report. I have it somewhere, but I'll show it. It's first thing in the morning and say, yes, that report that I spoke about. So that it is clear that they conducted the investigation, even when I heard the National Commissioner saying that he was also approached by a Calvin Rafadi, who told him that General Sibiya is Ket Matlala's friend and cannot investigate this matter. Now, the investigation team were working hand in hand with the parent, with the mother, and they were very happy. Even when the team they attempted to take the docket away from them, even General Sintumula, apparently they went to try and speak to the mother so that the team can be changed. The mother refused. Even when one of the generals, I think it was General Mkwanazi, saying that they spoke to the General Kumalo, saying that they spoke to the mother and the mother was complaining, and it is not true. I am asking the commission to just call the investigators to come with a docket as well and to demonstrate to this commission which team investigated this thing and made more investigation, because the team has been everywhere, even to Limpopo. They turned every stone. They followed all the leads. Even they worked with the family. Whatever information the family produced, at some point people were traced. I know of some colors that were traced, and some of them ran away. Some of them ended up being arrested for something else. But there were people traced. All I want to ask is that the commission should summon the investigating officer, because this matter was investigated thoroughly. The PKTT was never involved, not even once. Not even once. But be that as it may, I just want to say, Commissioner, my request, special request, please let this investigation serve as an example and put here to go through it and see who worked, who did the job, and who didn't do the job. That's all.
I thought I heard you mention the race of some of the people that were arrested.
Yeah, there
Am I
was.
correct? You don't need to repeat that. At the end of Mr. Makagula's evidence, I had prepared a very long note in which I wanted to comment on the fixation within the police structures to refer to the races of people. I never understand that, especially if race is totally irrelevant to what the person is saying or writing. It's a hang-up from the apartheid days where even judges would write in judgments, A, B, C, D, a Bantu male did this and that, when being a so-called Bantu is totally irrelevant to what's being said. I noticed that in particular with police officers. I don't know why that remains with police officers. Anyway, please continue.
May I apologize, Chair, and to the people of South Africa if what I said maybe or may have caused some uncomfortability. It just came the way it came. I apologize, Chair.
Please continue.
Yes.
General, before you continue, you say that General Masemula's evidence that Mr. Bushocha's mother approached him and expressed unhappiness with your involvement. Similarly, General Kumalo's statement that the mother has expressed unhappiness, and you said that is not true, and you say it very firmly. Do you say it is not true because you have spoken to Mr. Bushocha's mother, and so you know that she never expressed that kind of unhappiness with your involvement?
Personally, I've never spoken to Mr. Bushocha's mother, and most probably I may not be in a position to say it is not true that the National Commissioner spoke to the mother, but my investigators, the one that are involved, told me that we're working well with the mother and she's happy. In fact, she said to me, I said to the family, if you are not happy with me being on this case, I'm prepared to give it. And then the mother said, no, keep it.
Okay, so you're saying what General Masemula and Generals Kumalo and Masemula have said is not true because your investigators have said to you the mother is happy with the work that they do.
That's correct.
Is that your basis? Okay,
that's
thank
correct.
Thank you.
It is my request as well, Chair, that they should come and corroborate what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Okay, paragraph 169.
To the best of my knowledge, the team that I put together when I was leading the investigation into the kidnapping of Jerry Bushocha continued to investigate this case until just recently in December 2025 when the docket was taken away from this team. But all along, the docket was with the team. Even when those allegations were made, the docket continued to be with the team. This conduct is irreconcilable with the suggestion that any genuine or substantiated concern existed regarding my suitability to oversee the investigation. If there were genuine concerns regarding my involvement in the investigation, it begs the question why no steps were taken at the time to remove me from the same. Now, allow me, Chair, to give this example. We had a journalist that was kidnapped at Mpumalanga, Kwamhlanga, with his wife. And then the matter was being investigated by organized crime, Gauteng. I got contacted by the journalist one journalist said to me, General, our colleague has been kidnapped and it's quite a number of days now and nothing is happening. We were advised to approach you so that maybe you can put more energy and more effort. It was on a Saturday. I called for a meeting for a Sunday morning in Mamelodi police station. The investigating officer came with a docket. I brought another intelligence, a bigger team, including there was a private investigator, Mr. Calvin Rafadi. The same Rafadi, he was there because he's the one who was initially involved in the investigation. He's the one who was guiding guiding us because we found him there. He gave us background and all the groundwork that he has done. And when we listened to him, it was assisting and giving us some leads. And from there, as the South African Police Service, we took over. I personally I went onto the ground myself. I spent the whole week in the bush looking for the investigating up until we traced. We arrested people and we found the bodies. Now, I just want to say it's typical in the work that I do as the head of investigations. When something big happened, it hits against my chest if we are unable to resolve that particular matter. The same applies to your Lusikisiki 18 murders. I'm just giving that example. I had to go on the ground up until we arrested everybody. So involving myself into the Rafadi, into the Jeribo Soha matter is part of my responsibilities. It's not only the only kidnapping that I resolved. There's been some other, I don't know whether to say it, Judge, chairperson, nationality of Indian origin, where the children were kidnapped. I got involved and the children, when they were found, I was called, stood in front of them for the parents to thank me for my involvement. So I just want to say, I get involved in lots because of it's my work and then I have to take the lead. It's not because of I'm getting involved because it's a Mr. Matlala or want to protect somebody. Let me end it there. Go to paragraph.
Can you go to 171? That will conclude your point on Jerry Boshoka, and then we can move on.
Equally, it remains unexplained why the investigative team that I constituted was permitted to continue running the investigation until very recently. The absence of any intervention is inconsistent with the belated consent now raised and undermines the suggestion that my involvement was regarded as at the time as improper or prejudicial to the investigation. Now, the National Commissioner's point of contention. In his witness statement, the National Commissioner contends that upon my appointment as Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection in June 2023, 3 points of contention purportedly arose almost immediately, suggesting that what he characterized as a deeper operational complexities. I address each of these alleged points of contention in the paragraphs that follow. The first alleged point of contention is said to arise from what General Masemola characterized as my purported strong desire to assume direct control of the cold case unit, which he claims has historically reported to the Office of the National Commissioner. When you look at the structure of the cold case unit, the previous structure that was signed by the previous National Commissioner, Ketla Sitole, it reported to the detectives. When you read the structure that is signed by the National Commissioner himself, the structure, the cold case unit, reports to the Deputy National Commissioner, to the Divisional Commissioner, who reports to the Deputy National Commissioner, Crime Detection. It's not reporting to the National Commissioner. We all, in any event, report to the National Commissioner, But what I mean is that it reports to the Deputy National Commissioner. So for me to want to get involved in the inspection, I want to know where this head is. I want to know how many doggers are there and are they being inspected. It's my job. The second one is, now I want to refer to page 439 to 444. I don't know, it's of the same document. The National Commissioner was not being truthful. Please refer to the structure. Now, I want to refer to the structure of the police that shows exactly that this political killing task team, who it reports to, and that he himself, he signed the same structure that shows that the political killing task team report to me.
File 3, General 445.
File
File
3,
3 of 10, 445. Not very clear, but I think that's the one you're referring. Is there a better copy?
yes, we've got a better copy. What I wanted to just submit. There's a more clearer picture because these things are very much important.
But that is the structure you are looking for.
That is one of them. It's one of them because I wanted the one that was in fact approved by himself. That shows that in his own structure, it reports to
That one, oh,
In the same document on 449,
449.
because this one is approved by General Masemola on the
It's
13th
fine.
of May.
I'll work with this one. Commissioner is the one that was approved now by the National Commissioner on the 15th of May,
May, yes.
2025. And then look at on the right-hand side where you see support shared services. Below support shared service section head anti-corruption. Then below that one, do you see the court case and forensic investigation somewhere there? Commissioners?
Yes, yes. So it's the third block.
Yes.
So the first block is shared services. The second block is section 8 anti-corruption. And then the third block is primary investigation service, including cold case.
Court case. It reports to the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection. Now, it worries me when the National Commissioner say one of the issues, bone of contention that is my strong desire to assume direct cold case unit. And what worries me more, painfully so, is that he then says, because the cold case unit is where the Senzo Meiwa case is. I don't know what the National Commissioner was insinuating by so saying, but at this point in time, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go to the next bone of contention. If ever I have to address that part why he mentioned the Senzo Meiwa matter, I'll get there when there's a need.
Well, General, maybe before you proceed, this structure that we are looking at, 449, that's in 2025. It's approved in 2025. So that doesn't tell us anything about the point that the National Commissioner was making, rightly or wrongly. What he was saying, as understood his evidence, was at the time of your appointment as Deputy National Commissioner, you became you curiously, according to him, became interested in getting the cold case unit to report to you. So we would need to see an older structure that was applicable at the time that you were appointed. If you can't do it now, you can do it tomorrow. I see that these pages are quite difficult
No.
to look at.
It's very easy, commissioners. I do have the structure, even the previous one or the previous national commissioner, but I have a document that I intend to produce, speak to, that addresses business case submission to improve the performance of the detective service in accordance with the SAP's annual performance plan. Now, in this document, I wrote a document, and I don't know, my legal team is here. They sometimes query me and say, you talk too much, or you run ahead of yourself. At this point in time, business case submission to improve the performance of the detective. It is that document where I say docket allocated to various investigation units, but I want to read this document. At some point, the commission will not have.
Have you provided that to us?
No,
Jim?
we have provided it, but it doesn't have this other list.
Sorry.
And
Is it not complete?
yes, so you would get a page like this.
Ms. Killian, are you able to assist us? Please.
General, I think while Ms. Killian is still trying to find that page, you may, in the meantime, want to look at page 447 of that same bundle where we were looking at 449. If you look at 447, what does that tell us? I know it's barely legible. Is that helpful?
There is reference to cold cases.
This is in 2022, approved by General Sitole. And if you look at that extreme left block, you will see it has National Commissioner, it has something that is not legible, and another one, and then it has Cold Case Investigation Unit. Does that help at all?
Yes. What I can say, commissioners, is that the court case unit, even when I just got employed as the organized crime component head, reported to me as even the budget as we speak now, as we speak, it was with organized crime component head of the cold case. So I was expected to actually sign the performance contract with the cold case unit myself. And it was very difficult because when I called the person who was supposed to report to me was not able to come. So you were in charge of all others, but there is this one that you don't know where he is. And when you say, but where are you? Can you come close? Say, no, I can only come here with the national commissioner, maybe in his presence, because he felt that the national commissioner said he must report to him. But at the same time, the national commissioner said to me, no, he reports to you, but he will also report to me. Now, I want to bring a clearer structure from generals that I see from General Sitole, that I know that this one was actually, the cold case unit was actually falling under detectives and under organized crime. Mar, the main reason what I want to just point out, commissioners, is that when I talk about the business unit to improve performance of the detectives, you will see where I'm coming from. And then why was it necessary that I also get to know those dockets and where they are? Because I wasn't only doing it with the cold case unit. I wanted to know. I have dockets that are, they have old Scorpions dockets that are with the DPCI that have been closed. Where are they? Because the system remains open. We have dockets that are with IPIT. They are closed. The system remains open. I have dockets that are within crime intelligence. The system remains open. They are closed. So now, what I did is I crafted a document which the National Commissioner ultimately approved. That was crafted by me.
That is
Is that page?
that is the document I think I was asking.
Thank you, Chair. Page 458, Annexure SS 29.
Thank you, Ms. Killian.
It will assist commissioners if I really read this thing, because it leads also to an argument where we say there's a paragraph in, let's say, there's a paragraph in page 3 of the same document, paragraph 3.5.1, dockets allocated to various investigations environment. Now, I say the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection is the custodian of all case dockets within the SAPS. However, there are case dockets that are investigated by other environments for whom the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection has no control over, whilst he must account for such docket. These dockets are taken into account when the performance of the detective is being measured. Now, why I'm reading this thing specifically is that I was breaking down to say in the following respective environments. I don't know, because I want to read this thing, Commissioner, it's 3 pages. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to, or I must just speak to it, but it is important because it illustrates what the National Commissioner approved, because when I go to the recommendations, the National Commissioner approved 6.11 approved, 6.12 not approved for counterintelligence, for me to have the docket of counterintelligence. Approved for POP and ORS, 6.13 approved that POE detectives report directly to Detective Directorate, liaise with OD, 6.14 approved, 6.15 requires expansion.
General, I think what you are concerned with is the cold cases, dockets, or investigations. Why don't you just refer us to where it says, here's General Masimula's approval that this should fall under me?
Chair, I showed a structure that he approved that says it falls under divisional commissioner who reports to Deputy National Commissioner. It was previously when I joined, it was reporting to me as a component head of, and then I'll produce that structure tomorrow morning. I do have that structure, but maybe I should enter there.
You see, now you are referring to figures. This number approved, that number approved. That's very confusing to me. I don't know about everybody else. So that's why I wanted you to just zoom in on what's relevant to cold cases.
What I was trying to refer to here, Chair, without wasting the Chair's time, was that I wrote a document that seeks to account for all the dockets that are in the country in respective environment. And I said, there are a number of dockets in respective environment, whether you're talking cold case section, whether you're talking IPIT, whether you're talking all the different, whether you're talking intelligence. Now, all those dockets, when I look at the fact that I have to account and say, why do we have dockets that are 15 years old? Where are these dockets? Are they closed? Are they open? Because this is what improves performance of the detectives. In the absence of these dockets and the system being updated, the detectives remain not performing. Now, my job was to say, wherever there are dockets, even in uniform where they are not supposed to be having dockets, they have dockets. Even when you have dockets in at OR Tambo, ORS is uniform, but they have dockets. They are investigating dockets. Where are those dockets? Now, it is my job to seek to know where the dockets are, including the cold case dockets. If they have many dockets, where are they? Those that have been closed, and why some of them are more than, let's say, 10 years or such.
General, can you just show us where on SS 29 that is the point you're trying to make, as I understand it, is that it is appropriate for you to call for the dockets from the cold case unit? Can you, that's the point you're trying to make, that it falls within your ambit, your jurisdiction?
No, what I'm trying to say, not to call for the docket. I've never called for the dockets from the court case unit. But I want to know, firstly, if we say you, as a court case unit head, you report to us, we must have you, we must see you, we must have a performance contract with you, we must know where you are, you must account. We must know how many dockets you have and what are you doing with those dockets, how far are they. You must see progress so that we can account for your work as well.
I see.
And they report to the detective. Even when I came back, I was told they reporting to me.
Okay, so on SS 29, you've introduced this document to show that the cold case unit falls under your structure.
Yes.
So if you could just refer us to the exact paragraph or page of SS 29. There's no need to read it into the record, all of the pages. It's quite long.
What is the evidence that you are saying?
Where on SS 29 does it show us, because this is why you've introduced it, to show that the cold case unit falls under you. You have oversight of the cold case units, correct?
Yes.
Right. So if you could just point us to exactly where on SS 29, and then the point is made and we can move on.
In amplification of the above, I attach here to marked SS 29 an information note referred to 26 of 1 prepared by Divisional Commissioner Detective and Forensic Service General Sintumule and approved by me, which was addressed to General Masemola regarding the improvement of detectives' service performance in accordance with the SAP's annual performance plan, page 458. This is what I wrote here, page 458. I don't know for which environment, I mean for which file, 458. But as is apparent in the document, the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection is the custodian of all the case dockets within the SAPS. The information note expressly records the operational challenges that arises when case dockets are investigated within other environments over which the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection has no managerial oversight, while still being held accountable for the performance outcome associated with those dockets. It further confirmed that such dockets are included when detective service performance is measured, thereby reinforcing the necessity for investigative accountability to reside within the crime detection environment.
General, at page 474, paragraph 356, there is there's mention of cold case. Is that helpful to the point you want to make? Four, 474.
Capacitation in line with approved fixed establishment specialized unit. On 9 June 2021, the then National Commissioner General Sitole approved and signed a fixed establishment for the following new business units: murder and robbery unit, taxi violence, organized crime, including the court case. Yes, it's also helpful. It shows because this is the detective environment as well. All of this, including your murder and robbery, anti-gang, these are that report to the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, including court case.
Thank you.
Should I proceed?
You can proceed with your statement.
It's 5
It's 5
p.m.
o'clock.
Perhaps let's stop here. Ms. Killian, may I request that you please assist in ensuring that we get legible copies of SS28, the whole of that. And we do see references to cold cases, but we can't quite see the line of reporting at some of the pages.
Will do, Chair.
Thank you. Let us adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow morning.